Are you dead, man? Yeah, I'm dead, man.
We're live, host.
Indeed we are, buddy. Indeed we are.
Nothing like drinking a swig of water right when we go live. Just
bud.
Professional.
These pipes need to be lubed up for this incredible show that we have here. We got about 30 minutes or so to go here, boys, and we have breaking news. There's a report that Urban Meyer kicked Josh Lambo. This is incredible. It can't get any worse, and then it keeps getting worse. Anyhow, welcome to a Wednesday. That's a real report, brother.
That should be the Jaguars tagline. You know, you thought it couldn't get worse? Well, it can, pal.
Want to tell everybody, Emerson, your relationship with Josh Lambo, since you never let us forget it?
Yeah. He's a big fan of the Sassy Springers on their Instagram account, and he grew up with Springers, and
I got it. He's
active with the adopting dog community in Jacksonville, even though he's no longer on a team. Anywho, yes. Geoff, thank you for supporting me and trying to get the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office to arrest Urban Meyer. Anywho, guys, welcome. We're off to a hot start. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Slate. It's Geoff Ulrich. It's Reid Fowler. It's yours truly. We got Daniel behind the scenes on the ones and twos. We got producer Eamon with us, trying his best to keep us on the tracks. Guys, there's actually been a boatload of news here over the past 24 hours. So we're going to talk some sports betting stuff. We're going to get to spreads for this entire Week 15 slate. We'll try to squeeze in some Tiger stuff really quick there at the end as he returns this weekend. But big news coming out here in the past hour. Cardinals wide receiver, guys, DeAndre Hopkins will reportedly miss the remainder of the regular season with the knee sprain. Cardinals, who fell there to the third seed in the NFC after their Monday night loss to the Rams, are hoping he can return for the playoffs. So what do you think this does, Geoff, for Arizona's hopes with trying to grab that top seed?
I mean, I think it's pretty detrimental. I mean, there's the Arizona has a nice complement of receivers. They made smart moves getting depth pieces like Zach Ertz and AJ Green, but those guys are exactly what I just said. They're depth pieces. There's no one on the Arizona Cardinals that can duplicate what DeAndre Hopkins does, which is just move all around the field, go out, and stretch the field a little bit, and then come back out on a short route and make an amazing catch or something while he's covered. I think this is a pretty big blow. For fantasy purposes, sure, some of these guys are going to spike up, but if I'm looking at the Arizona Cardinals futures and looking at the other teams, I mean, this is a significant enough development, and DeAndre Hopkins is a significant enough player that I really think, just with the NFC being so tight, I'd be kind of out on them.
Okay, so Reid, Geoff just mentioned the fantasy side. This is good news for whose value there on the Cardinals, like AJ Green. There's Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk. I mean, does it hurt Kyler?
I mean, not really. Of course, right, from the upside of DeAndre Hopkins, he's one of the best receivers that we have in our game. But remember, DeAndre Hopkins was out as much as Kyler Murray was, right? And the Cardinals were winning. It looks like the Cardinals are a more balanced team than usual. And when we see Kyler get into these stretches where he doesn't really have to win games, then they actually win games. And when Kyler and the Cardinals put it all on his shoulders, they don't do well. And so, yes, from a surface level, it does ruin the upside of the Cardinals. Obviously, you want all your best players at full strength, completely healthy. It's not the case. AJ Green, though, has to be rostered if you're in the playoffs. And that's the guy that gets the biggest bump, right? AJ Green right now didn't look old, right? He looked pretty good on Monday night. He looked sort of like his old self, not completely like it, but he looked pretty good. And I think if you're taking a look at the main slate, and I know we're jumping around a little bit, it's $4,900. That's something that you have to consider right now, because he's probably going to be the number 2 receiver, I would guess, or pass catcher behind a guy like Zach Ertz, maybe whether it be Chase Edmonds or James Conner, whoever's going to be healthy. If it's not one of those guys, then yeah, AJ Green definitely deserves a bump up.
Well, at least for the Cardinals overall here, guys, I know they coughed up that top seed on Monday night, 1 game lead now in the division. At least Week 15 kind of allows them to hit the road, and where the Cardinals are unbeaten in 2021. What do they got? They got the Lions this weekend, I believe. And the Lions, by the way, one of 7 teams right now in enhanced COVID protocols: Browns, Bears, Falcons, Lions, Rams, Vikings, and the Washington football team. It's been an ugly day, been an ugly couple of days really for the league in its battle against COVID-19 here. Numbers are rising, and the Browns and Rams have just been destroyed by this thing. I think the Rams, OBJ is probably the biggest name there. And then over on the Browns side, like today, Baker landed on that list. Landry's on that list. I believe a couple starters on the offensive line. Like, I'm looking at the sports book. It's basically become a pick 'em here, dudes. And the total now is all of a sudden the lowest on the board. Like, what do you do? Is this a stay away spot in this game, Reid? This is against your Raiders.
I mean, probably not a stay away. I don't mind taking the Raiders at -1. I think it was at +1 earlier today when it initially opened. I could be mistaken, but I think the Raiders were getting a point. Now they're giving a point. Look, I mean, you're right. It's a pick 'em, right? Either way, like any way you shake it. I don't necessarily think it's a stay away. It might be a game that if it gets to 1.5, you can tease it above 7 if you like the Browns. I don't think Case Keenum is a bad, is so much of a downgrade from Baker. And what do the Browns do anyway? They run the damn ball, right? Nick Chubb against the Raiders. The Raiders have one of the worst defenses in the NFL, really bad against the run. I would imagine that Nick Chubb's going to get around 30 opportunities, 30 catches or 30 combined catches and rushes at least, right? And maybe that's 27 carries and 3 catches. This guy's going to be doing everything because Jarvis is out, Jedrick Wills is out, like you mentioned, Baker, some guys. It's a bad news for the Browns, but at the same time, they're at home, they're in cold weather. The Raiders and Derek Carr do not like cold weather. So yeah, I wouldn't stay away. I'd probably want to tease it up though if it gets to 1.5 to 7.5 for the Browns, and then probably go to Miami.
Ulrich, this for the rest of the NFL, like the bye weeks are in the books here, dude. Like teams could be shorthanded and down key contributors, like with little time for a lot of these teams, like the Browns and Raiders, who are in these massive playoff pushes. It really goes for both conferences here.
Yeah, the timing is not ideal. It's going to make for a very interesting end to the year, and hopefully. Perhaps not in a good way, just because we want to see these teams at full strength, obviously. But I'm going to I completely disagree with Reid. I mean, I think that the Browns here are still a bet. Like you guys mentioned, what do the Browns do on offense anyways? Like, what have they done with Baker Mayfield healthy and Jarvis Landry healthy anyways? What does this really take away from this team? They win like 16, 13 games anyways. Their defense is clearly their best unit. That looks mostly intact. They should have at least one of their 3 tight ends. Harrison Bryant's back to practice. They're still going to have Higgins, Donovan People-Jones, it looks like. And the main thing is they're going to have Nick Chubb and, Ernest goes to Camp Johnson out there, which is how they move the ball, man. Like, that's what the Browns are. As long as the defense doesn't get too ravaged, I am still fully on the Browns here. Again, cold weather game in Cleveland. It's a big game for Cleveland, man. If they can eke this out. And again, I just don't see a big drop off between Case Keenum and Baker Mayfield at this point. Sure, Baker Mayfield, still upside, still young. He can get better. But like Case Keenum and him, we've seen them play fine with Case Keenum and win games. So
yeah, the only thing I'll say, and again, like if you look at the rosters, or if you look at the team, this is why potentially Emerson, now I'm thinking about it, is a stay away spot, is because we think of the Browns as that, right? As this defensive unit, run the ball. But what we fail to realize too with the Raiders, and what we think about with the Raiders, is obviously they put up how many points against the Chiefs this season, but just in general over the last couple of games, not at all, nothing. And they're probably not going to have Darren Waller. A guy like Derek Carr plays up for these games, right? He is by far and away the better quarterback in this, whether it be Baker or Case Keenum. That's the only part that if I'm betting on the Browns, I want to tease them up, because a guy like Derek Carr, even though he hasn't been great, he has the advantage in this matchup, right? Stefanski, he's not going to be on the field because he has COVID. That didn't matter in the playoffs last year. But, that there are too many variables in my mind to just take the Browns at face value. I'd want to tease them up because I agree with Geoff. I think the Browns are the better team, but I just want that insurance because we have no idea. There's so many guys out on the offensive side. I'd rather just do that along with worried about how Derek Carr plays against these better type of teams like the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, Case Keenum and a healthy dose of Nick Chubb likely on the way for your reeling Raiders, dude. There are 8 divisional games this week. Thursday night's Chiefs-Chargers game is the only one with first place on the line, dudes. Chiefs have also run into some COVID issues as the Chargers here. So it looks like the Chiefs could be without 3 defensive starters, including Chris Jones. And that's a group, and we've talked about it on the Sweat the past couple of weeks, dude. That's a group that during this 6-game win streak for the Chiefs has been allowing opposing offenses just to average around like 11 points a game. Like the defense has figured it out there in Kansas City. Eckler has practiced today. Mike Williams, I believe, did so in limited capacity. I think most of the Chargers are going to be good to go. They're going to be without their starting left tackle. I think Eamon dropped that in our Slack channel a little earlier, but currently a 3-point favorite are the Chiefs. Which side do you see covering here, Reid?
Yeah, this one's tough. I mean, if you look at the Chiefs, their last game log, they'll play the Raiders twice and they absolutely demolished them 2 times. They played Dallas, they won 19-9. Then they played Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos. And before that, they played Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers, right? And they won 13-7. So you look at the last 5 games outside of probably Dallas, right? Like, who have they played? Their defense is playing better. But this is also a defense that gave up 17 points to the Giants, right? Like you still have to worry too a little bit about this defense if that luck, quote unquote, because I think part of it is with their last 5 games of now they're facing a Chargers team that now, like, without Slater, right, and potentially without Derwin James and Austin Eckler, that's going to be difficult. I would still side with the Chiefs. Chris Jones is massive, both from a figurative and literal sense for that defense. He's extremely important. Willie Gay, one of their linebackers as well, that's been a run stopper. If the Chargers don't have Austin Eckler, like, get on this line now. Okay. And he's probably one of the only running backs, because he's a dual threat, because he's so involved in the pass game, that will move the line a little bit. Most running backs don't, but I feel like Austin Eckler would. If he's going to be out, and along with Derwin James, who is a complete, star on the defensive side, if those guys are out, I would jump on the Chiefs now because you're getting that a pretty nice number. I think the Chiefs do actually pull this out.
Okay, yeah, Chiefs 4-0 too. ATS, remember how bad they were covering the spread? They've been like dating back to last season. They've been a bad team covering the spread, but 4-0 ATS here over their last 4 games, Ulrich. But at the same time, their last 6 games against the AFC West, I'm looking at a Chargers team that's 5-1 ATS. And prime time, Justin Herbert, just going to say it, it's complete opposite of prime time Kirk Cousins. The dude is thrown for more than 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns and 1 interception. That's prime time Justin Herbert for you.
It's like, there's Bizarro Superman. It's like Kirk Cousins is like Bizarro Justin Herbert, like kind of just isn't very cool looking. Really
Kirk
stinks
Cousins
in prime time.
has a better passer rating.
He's
than
Bizarro Justin Herbert. I'm just going to refer to him as that.
Yeah,
on Reid.
This is I know it's a hot button topic between you two, and I've got
has a better passer rating of 20+ yards this year.
Yeah,
who cares about
those are the top 2?
Who's got the better passer rating of passes thrown 500 yards into space?
Oh, you mean those deep ball passes that everyone is gawking over? Justin Herbert through to Jalen Guyton. You mean those passes that are positive EV, that are positive EPA, that have the most return on investment when you do them? You mean those? Yeah, okay. Continue.
Oh, go ahead, Geoff. Continue.
Well, I mean, sorry, there's too many fancy stats there for me. Okay. I think Chris Jones, look.
He bodied you.
Kirk Cousins is not in this game. Stop bringing him up. I think Chris Jones is a massive loss for the Chiefs, and I'm not shocked to see this line move down. I think that's mostly based on the Chris Jones news. Eckler would be big too, so that is definitely something to watch. I think that this game all of a sudden has a lot more potential for a shootout as well without Chris Jones. So yeah, I'm actually less inclined to bet on this game now than the Raiders and the Browns. I know that sounds a little bit strange, but I feel like with the Browns movement down that much, like you're still getting the better team now, potentially as an underdog. But in this one, it felt like the Chiefs were already getting bet up a bit. It felt like the public and people were starting to get back on them. They were up to like -4. Now it's back down to -3, and they're going to potentially without their best defensive player. That hurts. I think this game just got a lot more interesting in terms of this is going to be a close one. It could come down to the final possession. they're going to have Keenan Allen back too with the Chargers. The Chargers are a little banged up though, like Slater, and like you said, Derwin James. So you really got to watch that injury report. If things start to break bad for the Chargers, I would jump out on the Chiefs. But right now at -3, I'm just going to wait and see that last injury report.
Yeah, without Jones, Chiefs could easily have a tough time containing Herbert, who, by the way, was really good back in that September game as well when the Chargers knocked off the Chiefs 30-24. He's got 3 games against the Chiefs. He's tossed for about 900 yards, eight touchdowns, only 1 interception he has thrown in those games against the Chiefs. So the total for this one, you look on the DK Sportsbook, it's the only one in the 50s for like the entire Week 15 slate. The trend in primetime games too, Ulrich, has basically, at least recently, has been to bet the under, but this matchup just screams like a shootout, does it not?
Yeah, and especially with the defensive issues, right? Like on both sides of the ball too. So yeah, I think that I feel like the total it feels correct, but with the defensive issues and some, the Chargers getting like Keenan Allen back, potentially if Eckler was healthy, this one may actually be too low. I mean, I think if we said, oh, both these teams are in their prime, we're 100%, like I think most people would be like, well, yeah, this has the potential for a shootout, and maybe we should be seeing like a 54 or bigger. So it's an interesting spot. Obviously the COVID stuff and the injuries throwing like wrenches into it. And I think there's a lot of uncertainty around most games this week, but yeah, I'm kind of inclined here to roll with the over without Chris Jones in play.
What do you think, Reid?
Yeah, I think this one opened at 52.5 too. So, take that for what it's worth. And the line moving a half a point, I don't really think it matters that much. I think there's value on the under, just because I think we tend to overestimate Kansas City. That we're still using them as look at what they were against the Raiders. The Raiders are garbage, right? And they put up 40+ points twice, in a span of a month against the Raiders. So be it. But like I said, those other games, Kansas City's kind of look pedestrian, right? Kansas City against Denver looked pedestrian. So did Patrick Mahomes. Now, this defense, what worries me a little bit about the over is that that the Chargers defense is one of the worst against the run.
Yeah.
And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Darrell Williams.
It's dead last in DVOA.
Yeah. So if you're the Chiefs and you want to win this game, you're going to focus in on the run. Doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to put up points. I just think that when you take a look at that and the Chiefs right now and how they're potentially made up, if their defense is reeling a little bit, they might want to control the clock and, win this game 23-17, 24 to 17, if you can keep obviously the Chargers down. That's why I think there's value on the under, but boy, you would have to have some what to take the under in this matchup. By the way, the Chargers play, especially in primetime. We've seen the Chargers play in primetime and they just put up points. Again, Austin Eckler is a big deal because the last time we saw Chargers in primetime, Eckler had like 4 touchdowns. Yeah. So that's a big deal.
Any other bets you guys like for this game before we go to tomorrow night showdown contest? Anything else you want to mention?
I like taking the over on Patrick Mahomes just in general. I think with the Chiefs defense just losing the best player, I think you can start to look at this game being a bit more of an offensive shootout. I think you'd even look to Herbert. So I'm expecting points here. I'm not sure if we'll get it, but I do like the over on Mahomes for sure. Last time I looked, they weren't super big either, but could have changed.
Okay, man. Who's going to get there?
Yeah, 284. Okay. I like going over that.
Yeah. Who gets the nod at captain for you tomorrow night? There's a Millie Maker. Millie Maker's back. There wasn't one last Thursday, but there's one tomorrow night, everybody. So $20. Get up in that. 1.5 times the salary you will spend on a captain. You'll get 1.5 times the points in return. Who gets the nod, Ulrich?
I'll go with again. If we're playing the whole, we think this is going to be a shootout. I think Keenan Allen and Tyreek Hill are the guys you need to look at. I think Keenan Allen could just push for a boatload of targets here. No Chris Jones, Austin Eckler, a little banged up. They're probably going to be under pressure from the Chiefs, who have been very good at coming out fast and getting leads. And then I just think Tyreek Hill, I hate to use the he's due factor, but I just think he's due. I mean, if I think Patrick Mahomes is going to come out and have a good game, it's going to be some long connections to Tyreek Hill. And I think the Chiefs offense is 100% going to be up for this game. Again, they've been very good against the division over the last 3 or 4 years. They know that like the Chargers are the team kind of the team that's on the rise, trying to nip at their heels. This is their chance. This is like Mahomes and Tyreek Hill's chance to just put them back in their place. I would look to those 2 receivers for captains. And I don't think this is a spot where you want to drift too far down the board. I think the only way like a value guy comes into play, like a Williams or like a Pringle or something, is that the other player is that you need to have like 5 studs. Because we have seen that in shootout games where, like a value captain becomes so valuable because there's like 5 players with like 35 points. I think that's kind of how it's setting up for me. That's how I'm going to approach this game going. But I really think the high scorers are going to be one of those receivers.
Reid, who feels due is Travis Kelce. It's weird. I'm looking at his game log. 3 catches, hit the same exact line the past 2 games. 3 catches, 27 yards. So we're looking at under 6 fantasy points, 5.7 to be exact, 2 straight games.
Yeah, the thing about the thing about Travis Kelce is he's not getting the red zone targets. That's, I mean, you
he's
see
not getting
like
open.
And that too, right? He's kind of showing his, that like he's the wear and tear.
30.
Yeah, he's an old dude, man. 30. Geez, imagine what that feels like.
Damn.
But like the thing about the Chargers, I'm just taking a look at
I'm just depressed now.
They're what, 5th or 6th in giving up DK fantasy points, like 5th most.
Yeah, they're very generous. Very generous.
Yeah, so Travis Kelce is someone that you can definitely take a look at. He's 8,600 in the flex. If you captain him, right, he's going to be obviously more than that at 12.9. I'm starting the camp with Geoff. Like I want the studs, and I'm surprised Geoff didn't talk about Patrick Mahomes as his captain because lo and behold, Patrick Mahomes is on his season long. But he did mention Byron Pringle, who's also on his season long team. So,
oh my God,
Geoff Ulrich touting his season long team bingo card is completely full by now.
And it's only Wednesday.
It's only Wednesday. But what he'll say is that he just drafts good players, and that's why
true.
he's
that's what happens. That's why I beat Reid by like 50 points.
It's true. It is. He beat by 50. Not like 36. But like going back to this, like you got to have, I think, one of these quarterbacks. That's the only problem. Like if you go with the value play, which I get, like that's like trying to find a needle in a haystack at your captain spot. It's so important. We saw that, with Dalvin Cook last week, is that like he was expensive and you just needed to roster him and you need to have faith in that. I think one of these top 5 guys has to be one of your captains in this game. 52.5, 52, wherever it lands. I think one of them is going to do that. If Austin Eckler is out, I would definitely go with Keenan Allen, like Geoff mentioned, because vice versa, right? When Keenan Allen was out last week, the Austin Eckler play was the play because of the short yardage, the short intermediate routes. That was Keenan Allen that Austin Eckler would get. And now if Austin Eckler is out, you better believe Keenan Allen is going to get those 7 yard, 8, 12, 15, and then a couple touchdowns. That's just going to be the MO of what Keenan Allen does if Austin Eckler is out. If Austin Eckler is in, I'll kind of do the same thing, and it's not similar, but with Dalvin Cook last week, is that why not play him? Right? He's so good, and I get that he's coming with an injury. Staley said that he was going to be fine right after that game, and he's not practicing. Even though he's a game time decision, I feel like he's going to play. And Austin Eckler, he's going to give us hints too before the game that he's in or not. Right? He's done that before when he's been hurt, so we'll know a good portion of it before.
Look for Josh Kelly there in the flex, $800. It's like right up your alley, Geoff. You and Pierce.
I mean, I guess you could take a shot. I mean, I feel like if Austin Eckler is out there, he's probably going to play a lot. I'm not expecting him to sit. But he is a little bit banged up. That's kind of why I like the Keenan Allen play better. So,
our group chat has been on fire over the past few days. Like you and Reid just going back and forth because we have figured you out, Ulrich. We really have figured Geoff Ulrich out.
That I talk only about good players. Yeah, I mean,
you talk about every single player on your fantasy team, your season long. You are pushing hardcore on the sweat every single day in football season, 11 a.m. to noon.
He's manifesting that, good performance from his players.
This guy, wow, he really ruffled the feathers, like in this, three-way bromance here too. He is just, he's poking the bear. Let's
Season
put it
long
that
fantasy football, man. I mean,
the Croc Monster, when he comes
way.
comes in hot, like the Croc Monster, you really got to make sure you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's, and you're covering your six, because he'll get you.
Dude is shoveling his driveway in tube socks and Crocs
with the sweatpants in the tube socks to make sure you don't.
That's how we do things in Canada, man. We don't, we don't shy away from a little hard work.
All right, we got a little more 10 minutes to go in the show. What about other spreads on the sports book here? Geoff, which one would you say you are most confident in betting? We have some big ones, and then we have some really teeny tiny ones.
Yeah, some big spreads this week, obviously. The Cowboys is one of them at -11. Really don't have any issues just jumping on them. I just don't feel like the Giants are going to be able to score points at all. So
God, they've been so bad.
Yeah, they're really bad.
It's like 13 points. I think they're averaging over the last 4 games.
One of my favorite spots is already gone. I really liked the Bills at -9.5. They're up to 11. And even at 11, I don't really want to bet the Panthers or anything, but that is like a 1.5 swing. It's probably getting to the place where it's what you'd say is more correct. So there's obviously a lot of money going on there, but again, that's gone. San Francisco at -9.5. That was -8.5 yesterday. That's another team where Atlanta is just bad. So, that was if you got on them already, I think even at 9.5 though, I would still actually I think the line is about correct here. I don't think they should be any bigger than that, but I'm not taking Atlanta. So I think 9.5, you're okay. And then I'm just gonna stick with my Tennessee call. I don't know why this team gets no respect. But they're playing the Steelers. It's going to be a cold weather game. Tennessee is more than built for that style of game. If anything, Tennessee is the better version of the Steelers this year. Their defense has played better. They run the ball far better than the Steelers do.
I was going to say they haven't shied away from running the football since Derrick Henry went down.
Donta Foreman was an athletic guy coming out of college. Everyone was big on him. He's getting opportunity now. It's a running back by committee. That's fine. I get it. There's no big play option with Derrick Henry maybe, but Julio Jones is going to be healthy. I think the Titans should be closer to 3. It's -1.5 Titans right now, but I would just jump on that money line or something. So that's probably one of my favorite spots. It is one of those weeks where it feels like the lines have already moved a lot. And, with some of the news and the injuries, if you got in early on some of these games, great. If you didn't, I would really wait on some of them, waiting to see if maybe Buffalo comes down. Maybe even the 49ers, will come back down. I don't know. But a lot of these spots have already moved a lot. And Philly, I assume that's just from the Heineke. They were -4 yesterday, I believe. So I don't know. That's just a big spread for the Eagles, man. That is a big spread.
And it's not like Minshew's playing. I would back that if Minshew was under center.
You may not be wrong there, right? I don't know. That just seems like a massive number for the Philadelphia Eagles this year. So.
Titans as well, playing with more defensive confidence after shutting out the Jaguars, which is coached by a team a man who kicks his kickers. Reid, what about you? Which spread sticks out to you? Which spread would you feel pretty confident betting?
Yeah, that the Washington football team before the Taylor Heineke news, all the reports are saying he's a little banged up, but he feels good. He's on track to start. Who knows, right? He said it didn't hurt today.
Yeah, I should have given more color. McLaren's got a concussion.
Right.
The Kyle Allen is now COVID. So they're gonna have to roll with whatever health Taylor Heineke is, and they may not have McLaurin. So I assume that's why the line is where it is, but it still seems
it is.
I don't know. Washington is a little bit like Cleveland, right? Do we even care if their offensive players are that good? They kind of just win close games anyways. And I don't know. I just don't trust the Eagles to cover 7 is basically what it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah. So and that's probably where I would go first is Washington football team. Like if Taylor Heineke plays, I like this even more, a +7. Not having McLaurin out there is going to be a big hit. And Philly can potentially load the box, but I don't believe that Philly is a touchdown favorite in any stretch. Like even if you're down a couple of your players, like they're a way better coach the Washington football team is. I didn't like them last week against Dallas for a myriad of reasons, but I like them this week, right? They're playing in division. Eagles coming off a bye. Teams that come off a bye, I think there's this notion that, well, they're just rested, they're going to be so much better off bye. And that really hasn't been the case this year. Outside of teams that, are really well positioned and well coached. We'll see how the Patriots do after their bye. But yeah, Washington football team is one at +7. I just think that's asinine. And this one too, the Jaguars, like the Jaguars being favored in any game.
It's disgusting. It's terrible. It's the worst thing. I don't know what the hell odds makers are thinking. I'm dead serious. I
don't care
terrible.
if this is Davis Mills and whatever running back you want to roll out there in Houston.
Who's played well, actually, Mills.
Wow.
Okay.
Like the Jaguars, I don't care if they're at home. They could be not in London because that's where they're going to be and that's where they play well. But they could be on Mars and they shouldn't be favored by any points this year. So the Houston Texans at +4.
Yeah.
I like this at whatever it was, +3.5. I do not know why this is happening, right? You can give me all the negative news you want on Houston. I don't care. Like the Jaguars at -4, and I don't necessarily like betting on bad teams. I like betting against bad teams. But I look at this one in a vacuum and saying Houston Texans, even though they're a bad team, they're a better bad team than the Jaguars, who are the worst. They put up 0 points last week, Tennessee. 0 points.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
You can win 5-0.
Tennessee is not that. I mean, I like Tennessee, but they're not that good. They should be getting shutouts. So, I'm actually with that. I will be betting. I virtually guarantee I'll be betting Houston Texans money.
Right. Like we're the touchdown. Like James Robinson, if he actually just says, to Urban Meyer and and he just takes the ball away from Trevor Lawrence every play, fine. I will, if a report comes out that says we're going to give James Robinson 40 touches this game, fine. But if you don't and you give him 6 or you bench him because he fumbles or he looks at you the wrong way, so you kick him in the shin and he's out for the rest of the game, like there's no way that the Jaguars should be a favorite in any game. So give me Houston at +4. Davis Mills, not the worst rookie quarterback this year.
And I've seen a bunch of fantasy gurus throughout the industry tweet out about the smash spot that James Robinson is in this week too. And I'm like, how can you trust that team after last week? What do you have, like half a point or something? I mean, Urban will find a way to just screw it up. Matchup of 2 and 11 teams. And hey, the loser is going to be in the mix for the number 1 pick in next year's draft, which will be held in Vegas. So thing is I don't know did you see the report too, where the Jags, Urban's likely to be out if he wins it? What's a win? Is my mic?
You went out a little bit there.
Okay. Yeah, here we go. My back. Yeah, I'm just saying a win over Houston should be meaningless. So it shouldn't impact his future with the team at all. But anywho, DFS Sunday, or you guys could throw in Saturday. You have a guy who you believe is in a smash spot. Maybe not James Robinson.
He should be that's my favorite from a running back position, but who knows? I think Jalen Hurts, if he plays, she should play well, right? At $6,600. I think Tua's in a good spot at 57 from the quarterback position. Davis Mills, all he does is target Brandon Cooks, right? Brandon Cooks is also in a good spot. I think he's in the mid-5s. But yeah, right now, honestly, Geoff, I don't know if you agree. I want to try and fit these 2 guys in, Adams and Kupp. Pay down at running back, pay down at quarterback. This is a smaller slate because we have games on Saturday, right? So you're not going to have all of these big players. I just want to get these 2 guys in my lineup somehow, or even Debo. I want to get 2 of these 3 guys in my lineup because these guys right now, especially Kupp, I don't care if he's $9,000. This guy is getting massive usage.
He's too cheap. I mean, honestly, he's too cheap. Yeah, I mean, you start with Kupp. I would definitely lean Kupp over Adams, but I don't hate the idea of playing them both either. You could probably throw Steph Diggs in there. I mean, I like Debo.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys know I like Debo, but his
Yeah.
usage has obviously sunk a little bit with George Kittle taking more receptions. So, I mean, I would definitely lean Diggs over him this week. I think if I was going to actually, the running back I really like, I get why people think James Robinson's a good play, but I mean, I would just play Elijah Mitchell if he plays like at 6,200. I mean, this San Francisco team is going to score 30 plus. I'm pretty sure of it. And then if you're looking for a stack, I mean, again, and this kind of really fits in with Cooper Kupp well. I mean, Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett have looked really good over the last couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
You can, you can definitely attack the Rams through the air a bit. Like I like playing those two. And again, you can fit Cooper Kupp in perfectly because it just fits perfectly with, as a game stack there. So that's nice. Just thinking if I left anyone else out. Yeah. I mean, Devontae Adams, tight endish. It's just, whatever. It's a bunch of guys you could play. I don't have any hot takes there.
All right. That sounds good. I thought you were, because you did it earlier with like the spreads thing, like, you just naming like every game. And then I thought you were going to name every player there. And we only have 1 minute to go in the show. Closing thoughts. What are our expectations from Tiger Woods this weekend, guys? Reid.
I don't have any expectations. Like I want to see how good Charlie is.
Right?
I have expectations. I expect him to come down, lay the smack down, grab Justin Thomas by the throat, choke slam him on the 18th.
Well, if Geoff,
actually, it'd be better if he did it to his dad. He should do it to his dad.
That's what I was gonna say.
True, really rattle him. That's true.
Yeah. No, look, JT's been in the weight room, so he's now $125 dripping away instead of 115. So I don't know if you can easily do that. Yeah, no, I mean, you want, my expectation is you want to see him smile. You want to see him play. You want to see him get back into form. If you see a handful of good shots from him, right? Like he kind of lets one go and he's not favoring his leg, then you're going to start to fear. You're going to see on Twitter, you're going to see, oh, he's back, right? Insert the Cam Newton gif for Tiger Woods. Like he's back.
Oh yeah.
I don't want that. I want him to just be okay. Because I want to see him at Augusta. I want to see him at these major tournaments. I want to see him maybe at the RBC Heritage. I want to see him at some of these tournaments that he might not have played before, but now because of this injury, he has to play. I want to see him at the AT&T Pro-Am. Probably not going to happen, but maybe he decides to save that tournament because it's close to home. I don't know.
Yep.
That's what I want to see. And I don't want to see him ruin that from this. I hope he wins. That'd be great, but I hope they win because of Charlie.
Yep. It's going to be a social media frenzy, man. A bunch of people like myself proclaiming that he's back when he makes a 5-footer for bogey or something.
Yep.
I can't wait for that. It's going to be some great shots, Geoff. Probably some rust too. You have 10 seconds. Anything you want to add?
No, I just don't want to see him grab his back. Legitimately, I do not want to see that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let the kid carry, put the kid to work.
Totally.
It's about time he starts carrying his weight around here.
No kidding.
I feel the same about my daughters. Anywho. Love you guys. Good stuff. Thanks everyone for watching and have a good one. Thanks, Eamon. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Reid. Thanks, Geoff. And he's gone.
Jeff's out of here.